Hello everyone, this is me Kunal Raj from K3R FX, and today we are going to do this amazing RBD destruction in Houdini. I don't know what you people call it, Houdini or Houdini, but this is what we are going to do. And there are a lot of tutorials which do similar work, but then they leave you at the gray structure. They leave you here. But today we are going to integrate this in real live action footage, including the texture part of it. Okay, and just a heads up, this tutorial is going to be long, so if you are someone who is searching for something very short, then this won't be the cup of tea you are looking out for. Okay, so we are going to do the 3D tracking in Synthyes, then we jump to Houdini where we do the simulation, and then we do the comp in After Effects. Okay, I'm not an expert in comp, but I'll show you the basics how to get up to here. By the way, a big shout out to Rahul. This is him after 1 scoop of protein and 5 push-ups. Okay, so let's jump in the video. Right, let's go jump to Synthyes and let's get started. Right, so I'll just import the footage. I have already rendered out a image sequence. So I'll start with the image sequence. Frame rate what we are working today is 30 fps. So let's do 30 fps. Let's do a quick auto. I'll draw a garbage mask around him so that he is not included, and you can see my keystrokes here at any times on the right corner, so you'll know what I am doing. Right, so I'll run an auto tracker. I'll solve it quick. I have got the track, and so basically what I'll start with is I'll just align it. I think alignment is already gotten in the auto solve, so let's not waste time in aligning this. What I'll do, I'll just do the scaling part of it. So let's set an origin. I'll set this coordinates as at the origin. Okay, this one, and I like to color it as white. So what I'll do is it reminds you to save, so I'll just save it first. Match mover tutorial I had saved already, but then I couldn't complete it properly, so I made it at V001. I'll try to go a bit fast, trying to, because it will anyways become a little bit longer, but don't worry, all the basics whatever is needed will be covered. So this is white, so I go to 3D, press F4. This is the origin. I select the camera and I'll select whole. Right click 3D, whole effects meshes. So we don't want any mesh or anything to go. There isn't any mesh, so no need to worry as of now. So I'm moving my origin at the center just to start around with, scaling, dropping the earthling, and then I used to work on PF track before, but Synthyes, since it is acquired by Boris FX, this would be constantly, improving, and I found it a bit more advanced and fun to work with. Okay, so let's drop an earthling and make it around 170. Okay, so once I drag it up, it goes off, meaning I drags up to only 155. What I'll do is I'll do it 170, tab 170, tab 170. If you see, the scale of the human is too big, so accordingly we have to just scale it down. So let's select the camera and just make this scene a bit bigger basically. Okay, because the human is big, our scene is small, so we need to make the scene big to accommodate. Okay, origin point was kept so that we can get back the origin at the center, keeping the human intact. R is the shortcut for scaling. Press W again. So basically WSD kind of setup, but we are using WER. So all the 3 buttons are close to your fingers and you can easily. The human became too small, so we need to get it back to a bit bigger size. So we have human in reference, so this guy can be at the height of Rahul, because Rahul is quite tall. He is around 6 point something. So let's keep him a bit shorter, that is fine. So we have got our human size. We can now what we can do is we need to define the ground, and we need to define this plane and this plane. Okay, so for the ground, let's select some points which we are confident enough that this will be on the ground, like this points and this point, coordinates, and on the floor. Okay, and let's select some points which we can lock it, which we are confident enough that these are the points which we know that would be there. So once we refine it, there shouldn't be any, major changes with all the manual work what we have put. There shouldn't be a lot of disruption in the entire thing. So we refine, okay, and we have the points. I'm so happy, man. I've been struggling so many times, to get this thing, and sometimes we get it. Okay, so kind of coming to the ground, but not that much as well. There is a method what we could use, but let's try. I'll try that method. I'm not sure it will work because I'm just still trying out that. But let's draw a plane which is supposed to be on the ground. Okay, which is supposed to be on the ground. And what I'll do is I'll select some points, like all these points which didn't come to the ground, but I'll just select, okay, this point, this point, this point, this point, this point, then which are on the top as well. Okay, this ground is not even, right? It is like this and this, but we'll try. And drag, drop onto mesh, okay, and then what we'll do is we'll go to solver, constraint, and we'll refine it. Okay, so this will push all these things on the ground, see. Okay, so everything is pushed on the ground, kind of. The reason why we are making this ground is when we hits it, when the pieces break down, it will come. I don't think we need this. The pieces when it breaks will fall on the ground and it needs to interact, right? So let's select this and rotate it this way. Basically proxy geo for, if you see this jagged line, so what you can do is come to edit and open GL camera view. You'll get some straight lines. Okay, looks much better. Okay, so now to duplicate, right click here, scripts. I don't know why the settings are so much inside, but I could rather, just make a plane right away rather than, searching it. What I'll do is I'll just extend it till here, because anyways I need the ground. It is fine if it overlaps, and I'll increase the size in this axis. Okay, and then I can just move it. Moving something crossways is a bit tricky, man. X, okay, and then Y. We got the ground. I just need one box here, proxy geo, and then we are good to go. Okay, and yeah, and I'll need some proxy geo here as well, because once it falls it will interact here also, because we are not going to break it here. So just to give you an idea, once we are going to draw a box which would be like this. Okay, and we know only this portion is going to break, and then once it breaks it might fall here and interact as well, right? And then it will fall here. I won't go to do entire detail of here, but if you want you can just do it. I just want sub proxy geo to be here. So let's do one thing is let's select all this and make it cyan color, just to for us to know where exactly are this is here, right? This is here again. And what we'll do is we'll draw just a plane. I think a plane is fine. Later on if needed we can, so to help you, we know that the maximum what we need is here, until here, with the one which is in red. So we can keep it here, right? We just need a rough, at least some interaction to happen, need not be so accurate. So we'll try to make it here, and then what we'll do is just try to get it till here, right? So we'll get some interaction. E. This is just future proofing us from coming back to the software and trying to do some proxy geo and finding out things it's not possible and all the stuff. I think a box could have been a better choice. Not an issue. Okay, we can anyways do a proxy geo in Houdini as well. Okay, we just need a rough idea where this thing is, and then we can anyways draw a geo over here. Let's draw a box. Let's go to F4, and we need a elongated box. Let's get it here. Where is the point is somewhere here, okay, and where is a box is here, point is here. So we'll catch it and we'll bring it here, and we'll need to rotate it, obviously. Not this direction, not this, it is this direction. To help us out, what we could do is color this again to maybe yellowish purple. So when we have got a point, and what is another thing what we could do is just select this point and press shift O, so it will only show those 4 trackers. Okay, shift O. And having all the trackers sometimes is just a mess, right? We lose the trackers once we select this. So much of struggle, man, right? So much of struggle to get a box which is properly aligned to the surface. I'll tell you a easier way. What we could have done is let's go to F3. Let's select this. Let's select all the points and make it 2 facet words and trackers. Okay, so this has made a point here, and let's see if we draw a box. Right click, create mesh object, and see this is easier to align and to work along with. I think a little bit of adjustment with regards to the center line, and then it should be fine too. So then later on we could just use this as the proxy and then increase the size, get it a bit down. So, and just to verify, what we could do is draw a plane, right? For example, select this, come to F3. Let's get rid of this. Select, let's get out of this mesh object, lasso trackers, and then let's select sum and 2 grid 2 facets trackers, and then let's select create mesh object and then create object plane. Let's draw a plane here, and same way let's go to lasso trackers, select this. I think there are better ways, but I don't know why at present I'm not able to recollect. Let's draw a grid to facet, and then let's draw a thing here. These 2 are just to now align the plane. Okay, I know this has become a bit messy, but then just skip the part which you feel is not needed. So now if we see the green box, it is here. Okay, and if we see the other one, this is here, and we have this box here. So what we could do is slightly get it here to match it here. Okay, and okay, a plane 90 solved this axis, and then I'm not happy with the alignment part of it. I don't remember how I had done previously, so that is the thing what is bothering me. I'll hide this and I'll do it once again. Okay, so what we'll do is let's do one trackers, let's do one 0 weight tracker. Let's put a tracker here and 0 weight plus. Okay,
one eternity later.
then now we have one from here to here to here. These are the 3 points which we need to take care, and then we have this and this. We could have this as 1 point, this as 1 point, this as 1 point. Okay, so let's have all these points, and let's select the color as solid pink. Fine, now I think it should be easier for us to only work in this sections of the area. This is the straight line for the square, and these are the 2 edges. Done. Let's do a box now, so that I'll be also confident enough that what I'm telling y'all guys is something correct. Okay, let's not pass on wrong information and get into issues while working. So I've got this. I remember this was the method what I had used initially. Let's get the center line aligned, and let's get the axis and whatever things aligned as well. So coming here, this point 1 2 3 4 and 5 roughly. Let's make it a bit faded pink. Okay, just for understanding. So this is the top area. I need to resize the z axis and get it on the top. So let's get it on this top. Cool. Now the size of the thickness of the thing. Okay, so based on this I'll have to again adjust it here. So this is my front area, right? Bottom, this has to be the bottom. So now I can rotate it in a way that this becomes my bottom and this becomes my front area, because accuracy is the key, guys. Accuracy is the key. I know initial, that's why 3D jobs are more into value, and AI can do some things but not everything. So also here. Okay, so now I need to get it here. This axis, how do I match this to axis? This point, I don't know why it is getting so complicated, because I've done it before and it was not that much match moving. Let's rotate it this way. I think there should be a better way of.
One eternity later.
I think a faster way to align is, if you get the z axis, is to actually do it like visually rather than going entirely on the points. Just try to align it as per your view, and then you can verify it. That would be a bit faster, right? If you want, you can increase the axis divisions, but here I don't think I need that much. Even here I think this should be enough, and this 6 could be just this much, right? Okay, so this I've got it proper. I have to just get this part. So let's get it here, and then I think this much will be fine, because I don't need this area. If I see, I'll need only this area. So size wise, let's try to reduce maybe. I've got it visually right. Only thing I need to get it a bit down on the z axis. So not z, this axis, say. Okay, here it won't change much, but here I need to get it on the, visually it is on the y axis. So I'll just get it here and then move it here. Move it here. So this view, see, I've got it correct. This view is correct, and scaling needs to be a bit, z axis should come a bit low. Okay, so we have got here, we have 21, that is fine. I think some things little bit, 123 is the far away area, the center. Okay, so this is the orientation what we have got already. This is the orientation what we have got. What we can do now is we can just render it out. Okay, we have got the ground plane. I don't know what is this thing here, but if I go to F4, box 1 2 3 camera trackers, box 2, box 3, I don't know why I have 3 boxes, plane 1, I have box 1 and 2 and plane 1 show, and plane 2 show. So we have the ground and we have the box. Did I have any other planes? Plane 3 show. Okay, this is a good time to verify whether it is coming on this, but I think, see, we have some area which will just bevel it out. This is my thing which can go in Houdini. So let's export it out. File, I'll prefer Alembic or Filmbox, whichever works, but I'll try with FBX. I think I must have done here, see. So what I'll do is I'll make it as v4 because it is for the tutorial. This was the previous versions done on 29th of January. Okay, so matchmover tutorial v004.fpx save, and additional scaling 0.01 because sometimes scaling is a issue between different programs, Maya, and nothing it changes here. Starting frame will be 1001 because that is the frame what I've kept. No, it is at 0 here, so I'll keep it at 0. Fine. Now let's edit the shot, match 1001. So we have 56 frames. Okay, save 1001 and rest remain the same. Okay, so let's jump to Houdini and just import the scene so that we can move forward for the rest of the work, right? So I have my layout as build to, which is saved here, which has my window here. If I press P, I'll get my parameters and all. So file, import FPX, and I'll just locate it where it is in the desktop. RBD pre match move. This is the file, and import. We have got the proxy with the actual colors. That's cool. Okay, this is the camera. Now I want to check the footage. We get a lot of trackers and everything. Let's jump to the camera. We'll remove the camera screen, and on the camera go to view, background in image, and I have the image pre-match move, sorry, raw PNG sequence, and it starts from 1001. Okay, resolution is fine. Okay, so here you have to 1001 to 1056. That is the frame range that we have, so we'll get it here. Okay, if I select camera screen, I think not an issue. So now this proxy could be used for doing the RBD sim. This is how you get the 3D data from Synthyes to Houdini for the actual simulation. I know the process was a bit long and I messed up a few places, but we have our proxy geo which we can now start our work with. I'll save my project file here only. So RBD sim for tutorial v001.hip, and then we continue in the next section of the video. Okay, so let's continue from where we left. We have the frame rate set properly. Okay, and what we can do is, these are all the trackers. I think we don't need them, so I don't know if we can disable from here. This will get rid of this, and let's select all and B or D, which one disables all, I don't know. Okay, control A, select all, and then just disable it. Camera, we need the camera, and we need the box as of now. So we'll use this, okay, as a reference, and we'll create a separate geo. Why we are creating that is because, like, say if I need this is linked to the match move data. I could have used this, but then if I try to copy this and paste it outside, maybe create a geo, we can paste it here, but that won't retain the this transform. We could also do an object merge and get this particular box, I think it was box 2, and into this object. Yeah, then this can get okay. So the only thing what can create a issue is, like, when you move the project file, you will need to link it. You'll have to link this file, which is a big hassle, to link this file to the file when it is missing out, right? So what we'll do is we'll name this as this sim, and Let's create a box which is easier. Even if we move the project file here and there, we'll still have access to this file because this is a built-in geo and will run a bit more faster. Or forget it, we will assume that we will have access to the file all time. Okay, and if we are moving the file, we can just sync it back. Okay, let's disable this. We have our object, okay, which is solid, I suppose. Yes, and it has the texture as well, so that is fine. We will add a subdivide because we had kept a very weird, okay, I don't want to see the textures as of now. So we have a lot of, not lot, a few subdivisions. So we'll add up more subdivisions. Let's add a group node which will help us to differentiate later on down the line. I'll tell you why later on. So we will rename this group as wall. I think we can rename this as wall, and group name we can keep $OS. So it will take the name of the wall, right? And group will be primitive, and the rest we keep it that the entire thing is a wall, right? We did not transform here because if it was manual box, then we could have just transformed it to where we need that. Okay, we'll assume this is at the best possible position given by the match move artist, right? So let's put a ISO offset 50. See, the problem with, I don't know why it is not visible. If I put a box and then if I put an ISO offset, okay, not an issue with the geo, but with some visualize geometry. Let's otherwise reset. I forgot it. Let's put scatter. There is some visualization issue. We'll put scatter. Okay, so the reason we are putting ISO offset so that it scatters inside the volume. I hope you know this because this is an intermediate class, so you must be aware of. Okay, relax iteration will click this so that it is not spread out evenly but just randomly. After this, what we can do is add a RBD material fracture, and add this here, geometry, and add this to extra Voronoi points. So we have only a few. See, using this geometry gives all these issues if we're using this. So let's do attribute delete. I don't know what parameters we have, shop material path and all those. So we'll just delete everything and we can add our own, still giving this issue of tint back facing polygons. We have a lot of back facing polygons has holes. Okay, so this geometry is having holes, so let's put polyfill. I think this was the reason why I was not using this ready-made box what we are getting here. So let's make a box anyway. Here we are again adjusting the box, and let's put a transform and matching it here. Let's try out if we can use match size, if it works. I haven't tried this match size, and we keep this into move, and if we use this, such a cool way to use match size. Okay, but then this is changing the size, so we'll use this as a thing to move it up and then we'll resize it. Okay, at least one part of the work will reduce, and then we add a transform, and Let's try to match it. Okay, so scale in this, let's rotate it first. It would be in Z. Nope, which axis is it? Okay, we'll have to do a pivot transform. $CEX tab $CEY tab $CEZ. Okay, so this has made the pivot. Now I can rotate it in this axis. Fine. Okay, so starting from where we left previously, we imported the file, the 3D data in Houdini, and this is how we have the interface now, right? We have the box, we have the trackers, and we have the ground. So let's do one thing. Let's clear up some things. Let's clear this guy out. Let's clear this pane. Let's clear this box. We'll use this box as a reference. When you enter in this menu, it would be something like this, red, because it is locked. So you just unfreeze it, copy, and if you try to paste it here, you won't be able to paste it because here you have to create a geo first, empty container. Let's make it as sim, and let's paste it here. Okay, so if you try it like this, you won't get the transform data. Okay, you'll be wondering how do I get this. So instead of this, I'll show you one method. What you do is search for object merge and just locate that thing. So it was in box 2, if I remember. Yeah, and you have to select into this object. Okay, so you have got it in the position where exactly it is needed. Now the problem is I can disable this. Okay, we just need the camera. I think if we disable, we won't be able to see the camera as well. So what we can do is select all this. This is all the trackers what are imported. So what we're going to do is select all and click on any one of this. It will disable all, and we just need the camera to be active. Fine. So now it is in the camera mode, because if I come here, it will go out, and some trackers are there. Let's leave it. How come some trackers are left? Let's select all. Okay, so all the trackers are disabled. We have the box. I tried it. I'll delete this. I tried it previously and ended up having some issues. The issue was, I'll show you what was the issue. Suppose we take this box now. It is in the exact position where we need, right? And we just start out. We add. Let's start with adding a group first, because we want to. Let's name this as $OS, and this would be the wall. So basically $OS will give the same name to this. We'll rename this as wall. So the entire box is the wall right now. Okay, that is in the group. So after this, what we will do, we don't need transform because it is already here. Let's add RBD. Let's add RBD material fracture. You see this back faces and all this mess. That is the issue what I am getting. Now I don't know if normal fixes it. Not really. Reverse normals. No, it messes up all the normals, and it will show you that it has holes. Okay, so if I use polyfill to fill up the holes as well, just drop it here, it will still have some issues with this. So this is the reason why I don't want to use this box directly. Don't want to use this box, rather than create a geo. Also, like later on, if you move the files here and there, it will be difficult to locate this back. So what we will do is use this as a reference, and we'll create a box geo. This will be the geo, and use this views space bar and 3 2 1 to orient it properly. Okay, another method what you could use is match size. I don't know, match axis. I haven't used match axis. Match size, and if I click, put this here, whose bounding box is to be matched, and if I match this, I get it on the location where I need. So at least one part of your job is done, right? Flat wire. Then now we can just transform it and try to match it. So let's add another transform and rotate. Okay, let's rotate and let's get it here. Let's match the line and scale. We'll try to get close as close as possible. There will be a better method in Houdini. There are a lot, as I've already told. You find a lot of methods doing the same thing. So we have got one axis. It's tedious, man. It's tedious. I think let's find a solution rather than doing this, because we need to keep our workflow better. So give me some time. I'll just find for some. So let's try one thing. Let's put a normal. It's kind of did something, but okay, kind of solved. If I do reverse, this is wrong, I guess. So this, and I think before adding this, if we add maybe an assemble, I don't know. See, this is the issue what we face. Okay, so that is something which irritates a lot, but one time, it's only if one time we can just create some box and just try to fix it. I think that would be better. So it will drop into specified object and we'll make it of this size. I think that should be better, right? Simpler one, then we can just rotate it. So let's go with the box match size. Let's try match size once again. Shift R. Okay, we have matched the size and now we can move it up. So let's take this reference. The size is matched, so let's move it up. Let's take this is your top view, this side view, this completely mess up. So let's get this here and let's rotate this on y axis. I think we have got it. Okay, it's a little bit adjustment on maybe, I don't know, this axis. Okay, kind of close. I think this should match. And still fine tune it a bit. Okay, we've got it kind of perfect, kind of. Okay, this is fine to get started. We have got the box, so we don't need this object much. We could now just wire this in this wall. Polyfill is not required because this is sorted now, and now we don't have that issue, and we can just take this box and increase the division however we want. But still we see only a few cracks, right? So let's do the pretty old and effective method which is used most of the time. We drop an ISO offset. See, this ISO offset also wasn't working in that geo what we use. So as the name suggests, use it as a proxy geometry, but don't use it as the main geo. Okay, native geos will be much better. So now we drop a scatter node, and plug it in the fourth point, extra Voronoi. But still it won't show the results here. I'll just turn off this wire. It won't show it here. We can see only, I'll just take one exploded view. Okay, we just we just have this many pieces. Okay, so what we will do is go inside and turn on this. I think we have a lot of scatter points. Yes, so we need to come here and decrease the density to maybe 250 to work with, right, as of now. Otherwise, the entire thing will slow down. We can anyways come later on, then just increase the number of parts, number of points, right? 250 is also a lot. Let's maybe keep it 150. I'm working on a Ryzen 9 system, so this should work smooth. Might work slower on your system depending on the configuration, because I used to work on a laptop which was considerably slow and RBD would suffer. Okay, so I've got the exploded view, and going in second level of fracture, I think we can still put the input points, so we have much better points. Other features such as chipping, detail, constraints. Detail I won't activate now, we can do it later on. Right now let's work with this. And constraints, let's keep the strength as 100 as of now. Okay, so we have the pieces, and if we come here, we have the pieces here. If we play, let's see what happens. Nothing. And if we, because we haven't added the brains to this, we have just cracked it, we haven't added the brain, which is the RBD solver. See, this is the brain. Okay, you can see the brain, right? Now this is just crack, and it is there in its position without getting affected. So before we do anything to this, let's add let's visualize UV project. Let's visualize the texture. Let's get this thing sorted. So here, let's turn this on. Let's turn the texture on. Okay, we can see this texture, say, because we haven't put any texture till here. This has a texture, but then this box doesn't have a texture, right? This box doesn't have a texture, so we have just putting a texture. We'll see which one matches. Cylindrical has a continuation sort of. Okay, and if we use orthographic, that might be not uniform, say, right? So let's put cylindrical as of now because the size is uniform. And then we use UV quick shade. This will basically show us the texture here before rendering. This portion is not important as of now because this would not be breaking. The part which will get broken is I think from 5 to 5, I think from here, from M to E or max C, right? So let's put this, and for texture map, now this UV grid gray dot pick is this grid. What I've done is I've rendered out a texture already. Desktop pre raw. See, I've taken the first frame of the image sequence and I've just cropped it into 1080 by 1080. So this is the image of the first frame. I've just cropped it, and which I'll use it as a texture. Okay. And to visualize this, I don't know why it is not showing up. Maybe let's change the projection Z axis. I don't know why it is not loading. Maybe I have to add group in this. Shouldn't be, because I haven't added group before. UV project. So this forces UV grade view. Okay, when you do smooth shaded, you get this. Don't worry about it looking, low res, because that was something which was bothering me also initially. But just see that it is adjusted to the max possible resolution. Okay. So what we'll do is, see, if I do it like this, it will happen like this. So what I do is try to match to the seam lines of this. Okay, try to match to the lines of this line and of this line. Okay, try to match this, because once we render it out, okay, the image will be high res. See, this, there are some issues which we will solve, but the image seems high res here. Okay, this blue thing is some projection issues. Okay, let's do orthographic and then render it out and see. I think we haven't added environment light, right? Let's add some environment light and just have a check. Environment light. Okay. It is from the other view. Okay, so this was fine. Cylindrical is good to go. Okay, rotation. Let's rotate it. Press D. Background, display background image as photo video. Okay, so let's rotate it a bit like this. Okay, just to match. See, and then we can translate it a bit down. Okay, let's try to scale it out. No, let's try to scale it down minimal. Okay, because we need to match these lines here, and then let's try to bring it a bit more down. We are able to match this, but here you see the lines are going off, so let it be scaled a bit outside, and we'll translate a bit here. Let's render it out. This is quite close, see, right? Let's work it out from this, because the image depends on the image as well, right? The texture what I've used, the footage is in 4K, but the texture what I've used is in HD. So that is the thing. So once we use a higher res image, it will be much better. So let's assemble it. Anything going into the solver, RBD solver, needs to be assembled. Usually, even if you don't assemble, the RBD bullet solver does it for you. But let's keep it as a habit to do it. We don't want to create a named attributes, because name attributes are already generated at RBD material fracture. Okay, we don't have any name attributes here, but it is generated over here. Okay, name, you can see it here, piece 1, piece 2, whatever, on this corner here where I'm clicking. So we assemble. We don't want to create named attributes, and we just select create packed primitives. And now we'll put an RBD bullet solver. Okay, we just put this, and as soon as we run this, we see the entire block going down for no reason, right? It has a reason, because we don't have a ground plane set. So let's, for this purpose, let's select collision, sorry, yeah, and ground plane. Okay, we have the ground plane set over here. Did not break, because I think the constraints are not coming here. So let's add the constraint here and see. Let's reduce this primary strength to 10, and let's run a proper. Okay, that's weird, right? I don't know why it is running so slow. I think that's because, let's connect this in proxy geo. No, let's connect it here only and take the output from proxy geo. Okay. I think we have a lot of pieces coming. That's the reason it is, Anyways, view smooth wire shaded. So okay. So first of all, we need to stop this from falling down. So we need to make this as an inactive. Okay. So taking this box, so to explain you, now we need to make this be stuck here. So we want to make this as inactive, but this portion should get affected. So we want to make this active. Okay. So this is what we need to do here, right? So to make that happen, what we need to do is first, I know it will sound a bit weird. I have to make it like I integer is equal to, I don't know if it is integer or something, I don't remember properly. Everything is active now. Okay, everything is active, so it will work as it was working previously. Okay, so we make it as active 1. After that, we have to make this and this part inactive, so it will get stuck. So let's define a group first. Let's add a group. Okay, which will call it as inactive bottom. Okay, and the group name, let's set the group name to inactive grp group. Okay, so let's select bounding region and let's select the inactive part of the group. Okay, same way let's make a duplicate and let's make this as inactive group, but this would be top. Okay, and I think better than primitive points would be a better option because it will clearly select more parts. And here same thing, and here we will select inside this inactive group, we'll select as union with existing. Okay, so this will connect with this and we just move it on top. Another duplicate, sorry for that. This would be inactive back, this again union, with existing, this would be the back portion. Okay, so let's make this a bit smaller and let it engulf the back portion of the block. So we have it something like this. Let's play and see if anything happens. Nope. Because now, see, we have set everything to active. Then we have prepared one inactive group. Now we have to set this inactive group as inactive, right? So we can duplicate this, make this as active 0 and inactive group. Don't forget, I'll add a note. Shift P to add a note. Don't miss to set active 0 group inside the group section of attribute triangle. Very important. I miss it all the time. So I'm just informing how to make it. Rename it as active 0. That helps to identify. And then let's see. Reset. Nothing is falling down because there is no force and we have enough constraints. So if I make this primal strength as 0 and then run it, see, we have some portion of it falling down because the force is enough to pull it down, right? Yeah. Points, points, points. Okay. Problem is with me. Problem was with me. Okay. We have to set it as points. So now wherever the group is very less, for example this is the back group which is supporting till here, the bottom group. So I think we should cover here and maybe rotate this a bit. I know, a weird position to be in. Let's make it like this and see. Okay, we are reaching there. So we have our pieces set up and breaking, but we can't see the textures, right? And let's connect the constraint here. We can't see the textures, so for that we need to unpack it, which is really important if you want to see the textures back. I'll mark this as important and I'll put a This need to show texture, needed to show texture. So I've connected the constraint so it won't fall. Okay. So now it is falling down. My PC is acting a bit weird. I don't know why. Okay. It has a texture embedded on it. Say it is falling with the texture. Inside texture we haven't applied. We can still apply a material later on, but this is just an outside one. Looks nice, right? I was so happy when I was able to add texture on the video because I had been searching so much for a tutorial. Man. Okay. So let's connect this constraint to this and let's have a proxy geometry as well. This is the reason it is working slow. If you connect the proxy geometry here, then usually when it does the playback is it uses the proxy geometry to work. I don't know why it is creating a mess when I've added proxy. Maybe because I think I could pack it before RBD pack. I think so. I don't know. I'm just trying out. If I pack it and then if I apply UV quick shade, nope, doesn't work. Okay, fine. After RBD bullet and after unpack, let's add a RBD IO, which is for the cache. And for the cache, I usually make it pink. I don't know why. Constructed, and I used to do an explicit before to save it, but constructed also is not an issue. What you do is select this heap, go to a folder, select folder. This shows you the entire folder. So what you could do is create a geo. Geo is always for cache. Okay, cache is here. See, already I have it. So let's use this cache folder. Let's see it for tutorial. And here let's use this. So dollar heap dot cache dot for tutorial. Okay, and whatever name is there here, RBD cache, version number, and if I just cache it, it'll create this name, but I didn't want this name. I just want RBD cache, and I'll just cache it. RBD cache, right? And V1. If I do like this, I'll see what folder it gets created. Say V1, V2. That's a good thing of this. Okay, after cache it is running really smooth and I can just play it. So now the thing what is missing is the impact, right? It shouldn't fall until there is an impact on the wall, right? We'll get that sorted, not an issue. So after this, what we will do is we need to get the impact. So basically we need the impact to be getting connected here, collision geometry. So for that, let's create a sphere which matches the action of Rahul hitting the punch. So let's create a sphere, okay, which will get connected here. At present, if I run it in this way, just to show you, see, it is acting as a collision geometry. Okay, it is bouncing on this. But now for this sphere, what we will do is we need to transform it and keep it matching to its hand somewhere. So let's add a transform. Let's move it, translate it a bit up, and then scale it down a bit. Okay, and then click here, get it towards his hand, and as he moves, let's keep this here, and as he's moving his hand like this, we need to, before this, we need to just see whether he's, so let's take it a bit inside, and this needs to have some speed. So let's match to the speed of Rahul's hand. Okay, so let's get it here. So it is kind of breaking it. Okay, so let's start reverse. Let's lock the translate and then come back. So here, so it moves from here to here, and then it crosses. So here it should cross it. Okay, so I know it is a bit slow. This needs to be impactful. So let's see how it reacts. A bit bad, really bad. First of all, let's add constraint so it won't fall until it is hitting. And for this we'll have deforming, sorry, animated collision type, because it is animated. We have animated it. Let's dust cache is quite fast as compared to pop because it is lightweight. Think on it. But okay, so we have the pop. Okay, visually I feel it is very less dust because it will be very fine. This looks fine, and the material. Okay, so now to render it out, should we render it as a single pass or the entire thing is the question. So I'll just open the folder for the previous renders what we had done, just to have a look. Okay, this was the previous renders what I had done. So basically pyro was rendered separately, debris was a separate render, and this was a separate render, and all three were merged. Okay, if I open with chaos player, I don't have which plays it. Okay, So inner texture and outer texture. So only thing now is we need to match it with a proper environment light to match the scene. And also if we are enabling background image, no, let's use an environment image which kind of mimics the real. So basically something which is, these are pre-downloaded HDRIs. I've downloaded a few and I've kept. Okay, not so much of blue. Okay, kind of close. That is fine to me. So I'll disable this image. I only need this. I need it on this camera. Okay, and I'll use mantra for this because karma again will get a bit more complicated, and I've already set up the materials, and those are just 50 frames to render. So let's go to out. Okay, camera, we'll select the match move camera what we have here. Output picture, I will just prefer a PNG format, dot PNG. And location renders I'll create for tutorial. New folder v4 RBD. Okay, $f4.png. $f4 puts the number in 4 digit, so 4 padding. And before that, if I want to put any name, I can put like RBD dot $f4 dot, yeah, whatever it is. And render to disk, frame range is proper, rendering all setting default. Limits, I'll just increase this to 111. It adds more of this. Motion blur, we'll try to use the motion blur from here, because later on what we do it in post in comp, that doesn't bring a better motion blur. So to get a better motion blur, what you can do is come here, render, meaning to get a motion blur, not better. If you don't turn this on, you won't get motion blur. Add velocity blur. Okay, so I think you are getting a bit of blur. We'll check it, should be there. Okay, should get, not sure, I'll just check. So we'll go out, enable depth of field, not needed. Sometimes depth of field messes things up. And rendering, allow script driver. Let's render this current frame or frame range. No, current frame. Let's render out this current frame and see. See, we have got RBD dot the frame number. So RBD dot $f4 is this. F4 is this number. Okay, quite sharp, say, quite sharp, but no motion blur. That is the thing, man. I don't know. Okay, so for RBD pieces, We can create two, right? We could create inside and we could create outside 1 and 2, and we could just link this, right? So we have both, and then create a null and make this RBD out. And before this, if we add a velocity, point velocity, sorry, not point velocity, we could add a trail. We could add a trail here. Okay, every time we do it will update, so let's keep it manual. Let's add a trail and let's add compute velocity and put this somewhere here. Okay, compute velocity. RBD out, just to get that motion blur thing from the 3D software, so that, because in comp we can use RSMB, we have tried before, but that intensity of, in meaning the accuracy of that motion blur is not achieved. That is the thing. Yes, we have got. Sometimes it feels so good when you're able to solve the things. It looks so cool. See, this is directly from the thing. The problem with RSMB is then later on every piece will have some sort of motion blur in it, which doesn't give a better result. Here you'll have every part which is going have a very accurate result of motion blur. So this is how you achieve your motion blur. And then now to render out only RBD out, you can make 3 geos here and render it out, but I won't do that. Okay, like you could make RBD dust in this and then just object in. I'll show you, don't worry. So we can make this, RBD out. This you could do as main sim, and we'll just put it as object. Just put this as object merge and shift O. And then just, the reason why we keep capital is because whenever you keep the names as capital, it shows here like this. Okay, when you're searching. So here I can put null. I can put RBD main out, final out, whichever, final out. Okay, I'll just make this red again, and I can just disable this. So we have it segregated like this. We can get purple, and then we have this RBD out, and we can just do render. So it is clear that it is coming from here. We can see that the motion blur is not here because we have to come here, render, sampling, and add velocity blur. Okay, so that is sorted. Now come to out, select frame range, sampling, noise level is fine. We could add a bit of more, minimum 1, maximum maybe 12. Make this pixel sample 4 and 4. Aspect ratio, yeah, aspect ratio would be, if you override camera resolution, so camera resolution, how you'll find your camera resolution, go to object, camera resolution 1080 by 1920, that is fine. Okay, and we'll render to disk. So 56 frames with motion blur. Let's see what is the speed. I had rendered it previously on my older system, so it took a lot of time. Now at least it should be a bit faster.
One eternity later.
Okay. It's deforming. Okay, because but why isn't it traveling? That is the thing. Okay, we missed a very crucial point here. Remember what I told you before, that anything going in RBD should be assembled, and let's make it packed primitive, and let's see if it works out now.
One eternity later.
Okay, it's working out great. I think the speed is too slow. Maybe I've added a lot of points. So let's get rid of the second detail. Okay, let's secondary detail. Let's not keep the input points. And to speed up, what you could do is just reduce this to a bit lower and 30. And I think proxy should work. I don't know why it is not working. And here what you can do is, if you feel it is going slow, you can come to visualize and disable this. This is the thing which slows the thing down. Okay, let's cache it out and we'll preview it directly. I think whenever I'm connecting this proxy, it creates an issue. We'll try to figure it out later on. Okay, so now we get some motion, some needed motion, but it is not syncing, as you see, because the timings are not timings are really bad. So let's get this here. Let's by the time get this here, get this here. Let's push this a bit inside. Okay, push this a bit inside. Okay, this is not a, what I would say, not a procedural way. I mean the ball part actually, but we will work on a much better way in maybe the next tutorial. This is just to get the hang of it and get started, to get a decent solution. That is my main motive, so that we try to reach to the boundaries we are capable of, and then we can try to improve our work. Now the thing is, it is not breaking this part of the portion. Because why? Because we have set this as the back phase is disturbing this portion, so we need to slightly get it behind. Okay, so to activate more parts, and I think that should help to break this portion, right? See, and always for RBD we need minimum increase the sub step, bullet sub step, and global sub step to 2, and then cache it out. This will slow down the process a bit, but then will give you a better result. You might have seen some tutorials where the pieces fall and then rotate on the floor, so those kind of issues will be sorted. Okay, awesome. We have the destruction and thing sorted. Now what we need is to see whether it is interacting with the ground. I don't know, we haven't added the ground here as of now, right? So it is interacting with some ground. I don't know which ground. Maybe it is interacting with the ground plane, which is set here, right? Let's remove the ground plane. This thing is slowed down, man. I don't know why. I have a sync ongoing in the background, which I think that slows down this because it is continuously syncing. Okay, enough of this. I'll be just watching this simulation again and again. Right, so we need we were looking for the ground. See, now we don't have the ground. It is just falling into infinity down. Okay, so let's use a ground which we had made in Synthyes. So let's add an object merge. Let's go to, I think, plane 1. Let's get and see. Transform into this object. Okay, this is the ground. Right, let's add one more. Plane 2. Transform into this object. And let's merge it. So we have this, both the grounds, right? And then I think we had one more, which was plane 3, which was the top layer. Let's merge this, and then we could just merge this here. We'll just merge this and then get it here. I don't know what error. It might give an error, but I think mostly it should work. And let's cache it out as version 3. Okay, so I think we have some issue. Maybe let's have I connected it in the wrong plane? No, man. Maybe I need to assemble them. I think so. That might have solved the issue. I don't know why this has disappeared. Labs, reset viewport. Viewport error as always. Okay, so we have this ground which is here, and I think okay, we can see some interaction on this portion as well. Okay, there is some interaction, won't be too much, but some subtle interaction would be there. Okay, fine, it is interacting, I'll assume. We have the ground sorted, we have this thickness part sorted, And for this, for the collision part, when you come to the collision, see, you see this collision shape, this has a very fine padding. I think I had, let's make it 0.005. Let's reduce the friction. We've already unpacked it here, so no need to unpack. Okay, so what we will do here now is, from this cache we just need the part which is breaking to have a second layer of destruction, basically debris, or you know, we'll select wall, so only the wall comes out here, non-selected. So we have the wall, anything apart from the wall like this spear or the this thing won't come down, right? So we have the wall. Let's use this to create the debris sorts, right? I like to see this debris each time, every time. I like the visualization of it. Okay, so basically the debris has a age attribute which shows that whichever age has become more, it will go towards purple, right? So we don't need to unpack it more to use the debris source. There is an option, remove unreleased. So whichever is unreleased, okay, which is stuck, won't come out. And remove at life end. Okay, what is this? Remove at life end. So if you see, delete points that are separated and points where their age attribute higher than, basically fade out the points, just remove once the age is done. Lifespan is 1. And these are some important points which I had, which I'll just keep it in this project for later reference. Is shift P. Okay, so debris. So for this debris points we can use to generate more points, basically the dust. So let's make a popnet and plug it here. Let's add a unpack. No, not read. Let's add it here, second source. I'll tell you why. As of now nothing is happening, because for source we need to select points. Okay, so whatever points are coming here, let's disconnect what is not needed. So let's go step by step. Okay, so basically whatever debris is coming will get pushed further. Okay, I have some issues with this playhead, I don't know why, but this is what is getting pushed forward. So what we'll do is source birth. Let's make it like a lot of points, let's make it like 25,000 points, because once it is fine particles you can't see much of it. Okay, and live expectancy we won't change. Attribute, for attributes we'll add to inherited, and we'll have the variances 111. Right, let's play again and see. Okay, looks nice. Right, see, so basically with this, and if we add this, and if we add debris, so we have dust and everything flying, right? So for the pop, let's go in the pop. What are the things that we need to sort? Right, we've added variance. We need to add the custom ground and input path 1. What is 1? Okay, so to get things straight, let's connect this here, and I'll explain you what are the things what are needed. Let's add gravity first. Okay, and let's add a merge. Why we are adding a merge? We need two things. Whatever particles are generated here needs to collide with the ground as well as with the broken pieces itself, right? Otherwise it will look out of place. So let's add a static object. Even if it is not static, it is called static object. I'll tell you why. I don't know if you are aware of OP input path. Okay, this is something which use this button, which is above the tab and below the escape button, and not this one, which is straight dash. We don't want this straight dash, we want this slanting dash. OP input path. Okay, and then you put the straight dash, this, then two dots, dash. Okay, then a comma, and then one, then close the bracket and put it dash. Okay, so basically whatever is there in the first second input will come here. Okay, debris source is connected in the first, so this is basically wrong, so this should be like this. Okay, so 0 is the first input, 1 is the second input. So we have the static object, we need the debris source, so OP input 0. Wait, I am a bit lost, slightly lost. Okay, I think if this part was not there, are we still getting that blue thing? Yeah, so we are anyways getting that blue thing. This part here will make it interact basically interact with the debris source. Okay, debris source is a big chunk, so the particles will interact with basically collide with this. If we remove this, it isn't. I can't see it like colliding with that. Okay, let's connect it. We'll figure it out. Then we add another static object which will come here, which would be the custom ground. Okay, which we had created. So this will come as op input 2. So basically an easier way to just connect uh, to this. So I'll take this sample and I'll connect it here. Okay, to visualize this, what you can do is come to custom, say static object, and come to collision and use volume and use deforming. I think that needs to be, because it is moving, I use deforming and collision guide just to see. Okay, so this will act as the collision. Usually collision, the green one, which is the surface collision, is a bit slower, but then here also if we increase the divisions, it is not that meaning proper. So let's use surface. I think surface one is much better, and collision radius we could slightly increase, so this will collide a much better. And same way for ground, let's use surface collision. Why is it not visible? It is very thin, that is the issue. It is just as flat as a thing. So for this, we need to add some depth to this planes. Let's add a poly extrude. I was thinking the same thing when I just started. Let's add a poly extrude and add some distance to it. Okay, output back, output back, output back. So we have some distance to it. So now when we click on custom ground, this is op2, this is 1. Maybe it is too thin, I don't know. But it has come inside, so I think that shouldn't be an issue. It will mostly work. We don't need the entire thing to come out of that, so we'll add just pop, so only the pop particles comes out of the input. And then let's add a file cache, and same way we will just make it as cache for tutorial and just make it pop cache and save to disk. We have some issue. I don't know what issue. Let's see. The output. Don't ever change the output flag to something which is on top. This is taking time to calculate SDF because we have used surface collision and that takes a bit of time. Let's interrupt this. Let's keep only pop. And then let's file cache it. Should be slightly faster because we are not caching in more stuff. There's some thing why it is slowing down, so that will need to be inquired. Is it the pop solver? Is it the source? Use first context 35,000. Okay, stream. Yeah, a very important thing. This debris has a lot of unwanted thing which are not needed in the popnet. Okay, so if I click here, this will show me, I don't know, 80 whatever is it is. So let's do an attribute delete so that there is less items which are flowing inside. And what we need, age and life, these two are not needed. Rest things can just follow along. Let's save and see if it is faster. So calculating SDF, see the SDF is creating it to take more time. That is the thing. Let's do one thing. Let's come here, and for time being let's change it to solver default. Okay, use solver default, and 25,000 constant birth rate, and sources points, use first contact geometry, and let's save it.
One eternity later.
Okay, so we are back after quite I don't know why pop took so much of time. So but we have this generated. Okay, just a quick way, if we just render out. Okay, the thing that was slowing down was this rendering in the backend. Always keep it off. So we have the p scale which is not defined, so we don't have the p scale defined, so we have it so big. So let's define the p scale. Let's add attribute wrangle and add this simple f at the rate p scale is equal to 0.01 and end it. Let's check the p scale. Should be smaller now. Okay, still a bit bigger, so let's make it much smaller. Too small. Okay, should look as a dust, right? Scene view. Okay, now I can scroll it properly. Okay, file cache. So now we can do we need we don't need the visualization going, so let's delete the visualization. Let's make a lifespan 0.01 and no color needed. Okay, save to disk. Don't tell me again. That's a lot of time, man, to create a cache. How many particles do we have? I don't know. Let's create a cache once and then I'll use it directly from the cache without change. So let's generate this cache one and then I'll use it without, I think we are almost done. We have the breaking parts. We have this pop dust. We just need some. We have the debris. We need some dust. Actual like the pyro dust. I expected the speed to be faster on this new system, but for cache it doesn't use GPU, neither it properly uses CPU, so that is the thing. Okay, so we have got rid of that weird color. Now we have just a white color which we can alter. So let's, I don't know if we have the color attribute here, CD. We have everything except CD. So let's add an attribute create and let's create an attribute CD. So we'll have the expects at least 3 colors. So 1 2 I think vector color is a vector. Didn't know. Yeah, I guess. Or is it a float? Color is a float, I think. Float value. Why does this expect 3 colors? 3. Let's add a color. Can we add? Let's add a bit of this and then add a, I think this scale was of the particles were big, that's why it was taking time to generate the cache. Let's try make a version 2 and then try again. See, it's done because it is already generated, right? So adjust the scaling and then add a pop cache or whatever, right? So we have this done. Let's create a null and name it as pop out. Pop out. Okay, I always like to color it as red. So for the dust, right, for the dust, an easier way is to let's create an attribute wrangle and just copy the node, copy this. What I have, basically what we are doing is setting up density is equal to 1, temperature is equal to 1, and p scale is equal to 0.1, right? Set density set density temp p scale. So we need to set this because next what we do is volume rasterize. Okay, volume rasterize attributes, and here we select this groups, sorry, this attributes, density, temperature. No, we don't need temperature here. Okay, we can say something happening here. For better quality, go to visualize. Somewhere I had read or seen this. I want to keep. Told you carnival is going on, so we'll have some background music sometimes in between. Anyways, voxel size, let's keep it 0.01, and velocity blur, yeah, velocity blur is needed. And I don't know, this got deleted. Sometimes it is weird. So attribute triangle, and we add all these three things. If we want to see it, control and plus. Okay, so you can read it properly. This is for people like me, set, who can't see like proper smalls, dense, temp, p scale. Okay, we have set this. Now volume rasterize attributes, and this is set it at 0.01. Okay, let's set it to automatic auto update. Density, here we'll add as v. Velocity blur, yeah. For this visualize, there is one option, volume filtering is on, volume normal, filtering is off. Okay. So basically bounce, let's check out some settings. I don't know why this had done before, but let's remove this and then let's add it as density only. Let's create a dust cache. Okay, let's put it here same way. $hip cache for tutorial and dust cache and save it. Let's save it first and then visualize what is the actual thing.
A few moments later.
Later on in the pyro source we can change the smoke intensity and all those stuff, so that's not an issue.
One eternity later.
Why is this weird this thing happening? Okay, voxels is too much, 0.1. Let's create bounds. In bound we do resizing and density, temperature and well. Flame not needed. Well, temperature is 10, acceleration is 10, source density, dissipation 0.05 and flame, I don't know why it is colored, shape buoyancy 0.1, density think this is fine. Intensity might be a lot, but then later on in the comp also you can just reduce it a bit. I know the intensity is quite a lot. Let's make it to 0.01 and then save it to disk. No, too less. So we have the smoke, we have the pop. I think it said that those got deleted. Attribute triangle. Okay, so that was a quick break. Just trying to figure out still why that dust is so big. Anyways, we have got the pop. We have got the so it's a good thing that we just put a null and put a pop out and make it red. Okay, this is dust out. And where is the debris? Where is the debris part? Debris part last seen was here, but now the thing is this is the debris part, but the thing is whatever is here, like this part, this is just for visualization. We need to add it in the material. This is the part where it gets a bit confusing. So now this I'll add a shift O and add a shift P for visualization only. Okay, for visualization only. Make it large. I think that has become too big. We understand that it is for visualization, but let's keep it here. So now I'll just duplicate it here for material final. Okay, we don't need just to. Here what we'll have to do is add a attribute transfer, and we need to transfer some attribute here, required geometry to transfer attributes to, and from. So from why are we transferring attributes from here? It should have been from here, right? It should have been from here. No idea. Let's do it from here and we'll check. It should have been actually from here. Okay, So we are transferring all the attributes. Let's go to material palette, add a principal shader. Okay, this principal shader will add the texture which we created basically. So let's go to desktop, where the assets are, and at the frame 1. Okay, and this one goes on this. Okay, rest surface we need to make it white. Roughness, let's increase the roughness. INR, reflection nothing. Reflectivity will reduce it. Emission, I don't know if we have emission. No. So that is which is applied. Go to obj, let's add a material. Just in case, I don't know why I'm adding it here, but because I think so. Here we mention fracture 1 outside and fracture 2 outside. No, sorry. Yeah. And for outside we are adding material which we created, that is the principal shader 1. Okay, so material palette outside, right? So if we need one more, we'll make a duplicate. This is inside, and for this I have already downloaded a texture which is, I'll show you how the texture is. This is this out texture, cement texture, which you see the texture size, it is so big. So for that quality we need to have a bigger texture. Okay, this is the inside texture basically. So now when we come to obj, we'll create a duplicate. This would be inside, and clear this, and inside and inside. Okay, and same way here inside. So we have inside we have a different material, outside we have a different material. Okay, so we have two set of materials, outside and inside. See, cool, right? See, outside inside, two materials, outside and inside. So when we go to render view and we render this particular frame, we'll get two materials, two different materials. Okay, so inside is not blank now, inside also there is a material. We have this kind of lines going in because inside texture is not sorted, and I think that is something we have to see. Okay, so for material final we have the textures applied. So simple, right? And we have all these three things, sorted along with the material. Okay, I don't know whether his hand texture also will come out, but so now when we come here and if we disable the background image and then render out a view. We have the textures along with the materials. Now the thing is we have to increase the details and everything. So we come to RBD constraints, primary strength. We'll have to add some strength to it, at least. Okay, we need to add some strength, otherwise it won't look good. So let's add 100. And wall detail, edge detail and interior detail, this are the two things what we'll add. Also what we'll add is chipping, is something what I won't add because that messes thing up. I'll add this, I'll add this as 40. Okay, and then after I'll just create a cache. This will be more detailed sort of. But then we have this issues here. This is when we go to add detail, sometimes there are this chipping thing coming up. That's why I was avoiding this interior detail. Always there's an issue with this, I don't know. So let's get rid of this interior detail, edge detail. Primary factor, we can increase the points. Okay, this scatter we could increase it to 350 sort of, and save to disk. Okay, so we have some more points, and we have this new cache, whatever it is. Now the pop and the dust I'll have to generate again because the points have changed. Okay, so we have got a render ready after eternity. Okay, so with a lot of motion blur, kind of. In this player you can't see it because this is showing a sharp result, but then we have it here. So let's, same way, let's render out the other layers. So what we will do is go back. An easier way to jump in back and forth again is set this as control 1, so quick mark 1 and control 2. Okay, so 2 is here, 1, and then I can just press 2 to come out and 1 to go in, right? So this is done. I'll come out, duplicate, RBD out, make it dust out. Okay, and dust final out, and here change it to dust out. Okay, the dust seems to be very strong, so we need to reduce the intensity of it. Okay, this is quite a lot. So what we will do is, let's click on dust and look as 1, 0.5, 0.1. I think this looks fine, and let's save it. Okay, a little bit of dust is fine. Let's render it out and see how much dust are we seeing it. Same way again, we need to add velocity blur. I don't know if we are getting velocity blur here. It is taking a lot of time to render. Let's add velocity. Let's add a trail and add compute velocity and then test it out. I think we might get this. I think we might get more of things. So let's render it out. Go out, and same way, instead of RBD folder, now we need a v4 dust, except dust dot $f4 dot png, accept and render to disk, and then wait for another eternity to complete. I think this will complete a bit earlier because yeah, this is a bit faster. Initially we don't need the dust. I think the dust comes in the last few frames. We could have a look and see where the dust is coming from. Okay, starts from 25. Okay, so let's go here and let's start from 1025 and render to disk. Okay, so let's jump in After Effects and just put in the scene and see how it looks around. Okay, this render is taking a lot of time, the dust render and the pop render, so that we can just add in later on. Let's jump in with this. I have rendered a few frame of the dust. I'll see how many, just a few. So we'll just import this as well and we'll see. This is starting from 1026, so just a few frames we have. So I'll open the older project so we could use it as a reference of how we did it and it will be easier. So we'll create a new folder for tutorial v004 and we have the clip already. This is the clip. Okay, so we just take this clip and just drop it here, and only remember that composition setting will be less, like 1080 by 1920 30 fps, and scaling control shift F, control shift F, control alt F. Okay, okay, so this is not a good way. This is, I'll duplicate this as this only. This was the older one, so let's remove this to 1094. Where did I start from? 26, frame number 26. Okay, frame number 26 to frame number 79. Right, I'll trim it. So this is the portion which I've used again for tutorial and 1080 by 1920. Control shift F, control alt F, sorry, to zoom it in place. Okay, so we have this title. So now new folder 3D renders. So now what we have to do is just import our assets what we have rendered out. 3D renders for let's bring RBD. Okay, just place it here. So we have got, this looks like it goes very easily, but then That was the impact that can be adjusted however the impact we need now. But now the Rahul has taken, we can assume Rahul has taken 2 scoop of protein that day and done 10 push-ups, so he has more of energy coming out, right? So now see here we have added a subtle thing, meaning here the constraints are a bit strong. Here constraints were like just 10. Okay, so the impact is more. First let's match the color, so let's drop the lumetri color, and in basic we'll try to match the temperature. This is a bit warm and this is a bit cool, so let's match it towards a bit cooler temperature. Okay, let's reduce the contrast a bit so it matches to this, and let's uh, reduce the highlights, whites. So basically you have to just match the color, and then we'll get rid of this edges. To get rid of the edges, draw a mask, and just draw a mask in this way. And increase the feather. Press F, increase the feather. Okay, in this way. So the problem with increasing the feather is even your footage gets a bit chopped out. Okay, the same was the issue here as well. So we have, see here you can see the footage is getting chopped out. Here getting chopped out. So here let's increase this like this, and it is getting chopped out, so I won't draw a mask. Okay, we'll leave it like this. We can leave it like this. Rest is comp work. So basically what we can do, I had made an adjustment layer where I had put the looks. So I'll just get it here. So basically matching the color, and then what we have to do is do the roto of the hand. Okay, do the roto of the hand. I'll just do it in quickly by using roto brush just to show you quickly what exactly I mean. Draw a roto for the hand. Okay, just for the hand. And page up. Okay, and Control Shift D to do this, and Control Shift D. So we don't need this part, and this part so we'll get this hand over the destruction part, so at least that part will get sorted. Fine. So this adjustment layer is for color adjustment. Okay, you have to extend this roto to just get it over that. So basically you have got some idea of getting this straight. Rest is you just adjust the color, draw a mask. For example, take this RBD and draw a mask where it is, do it invert it, and then feather it out and draw a big feather. Okay, draw a big feather where you can just cheat a bit to get Same way, draw another small mask, add a feather, and cheat your way out for some sections of it. Okay, so that is how you get it to real. I know this, I could have, I'll tell you, the easier way would be I could have just extended this here, meaning when I drew the shape, I could just take this entire part as one box. That could have reduced the hassle of this edge, but then the rendering time will take more. Okay, and another adjustment is the shake layer, what we had put when it is hitting, so that shake. So I'll keep this part short because in detail if I do the comp it is already a lot longer one, but just let us know in the comments if you want a detailed comp, if you want a detailed comp related tutorial. I'll do that, but this channel is mostly for Houdini related, so this is something which needs to be textured out properly, meaning you need to properly see here it is coming off this, so we have to spend some time, do a proper roto. And for example, now this is your sole layer, this was the initial layer, right? Then we added our layer, okay, which is putting the hand inside. Then we added pyro, which is the dust. We added debris, which is this fine particles. We added another image of this so that the hand comes out. On the hand we added some roto brush and motion blur. Then we added shake when it is hitting, and when we added the color aspect of it. And this is how we do this in real life, getting 3D from Houdini and integrating it in real live action footage. Okay, I know this one needs a lot of improvement. Okay, like we need to go back to Houdini and render out, but the interior color has come out better here, because see, this is the color, see the color here, and here it's a bit brighter. Okay, interior won't be this bright, interior will be somewhat like this dark. Okay, so that is something which we have really got nicely. The only thing, even see how well it, the 3D track has stuck. Okay, see this portion of the section, how well it stuck to the surface. And yeah, that's pretty much. Hope you enjoyed watching this. It was quite a long one, almost like 2-3 hours recording and doing the entire thing. And let us know in the comments what you want next. I'm still trying to figure out. See, this was hardly one or two codes, that was one line codes and no vex code used here. It was all node based, and also no loop and all those jazz. And I hope you enjoyed, and even I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed doing it once again. This was the first instance where I was just experiment. The details are not there. I was getting error with the interior details and it was taking a lot of time. So getting the main concept right is the first thing, and then you go sit back, iterate. See, even here we are getting interaction with the ground. Okay, I haven't added lights in Houdini because then we could have got more reflection, shadows and all, but that we can do in the later part of the tutorials coming up. Okay, that's it. Thank you. This is Kunal Raj from K3RFX, and I see you in the next one. Thank you.